this video is just a quick video just to demonstrate the game tracker map for D100 Dungeon. What I've done is I've compiled a way to track certain statistics that you use during the game, certain parameters that are used in the game, to avoid having to use a lot of the adventure sheet, making adjustments to the adventure sheet while you play a game. And then once you've completed a game and you've finished doing all your tracking, you can then take the information from this sheet and apply it to the adventure sheet to store it for until your next game when you decide to play. What we've got is all the main elements that you're going to need to use, and we've got these 20 of these little crystals to place on the tracks to record the information. So we've got an adventurer health point value, so most adventurers start with 20, but it goes up to 50, so it should cover most adventurers' gains for health points. And all you do is, as the adventurer loses health points, you move the crystal along the track, and as they gain health points, they move it back along the track up to their maximum that they're allowed. Then you've got tracks that work in the same way for the oil that the adventurer is carrying and picks, and we've got them for poison and disease. And so until we actually get poison and disease, we place them just off the track there, and then when the first point of poison is picked up by the adventurer, then you just move it along the track. And we've got the encounter modifier track, just to give us a reminder of which encounter modifier we're applying when we're rolling on the encounter table. And we've got levers and keys, so as we acquire levers and keys throughout the game, we can move them along the track. We've got the time track, and you place that on the beginning of the very first turn. You place it on the first hour, which tells us that we have to spend 1 oil, so we move 1 oil down, then we move around the track, same as if we was shading in the hours on the adventure sheet. We're just using it on a clock face type of track system. And then when we get to this point where it tells us that we should be refreshing the track, which we don't need to do because we're not rubbing them out on here anymore, but it just gives us a quick reminder telling us to check for disease and poison, which you would do in the usual way, and apply the results in the usual way. And then the next one you'd move along and you'd have to spend another oil and so forth, and it goes round and round. This is the monsters health points track, and we've got 10 of these, and I'll explain why. When you're facing a monster that hasn't got the track ability, you just track it like you do with the adventurer's health points. And so let's say the monster had 16 health points, you'd put the crystal on 16, and then you would count down as you dealt it wounds on the track, going down into minus figures. And then if we was facing a monster with the pack ability, what we would do instead is we would use a number of crystals depending on how many monsters were in the pack, and that's determined by the values. So if, for instance, we had a pack that had 3, 3, 2, we would have 3 monsters, one with 3 health points, another with 3 health points, and another with 2 health points. And so what we would do is we would use each line then, instead of using the whole track, we'd use each line of the track for each monster, and it's got a record of their current health points at the top there, written in blue. So if we was facing a pack, as I said before, with 3, 3 and 2, we would place them in position. The first monster would have 3, that would be the leftmost monster, then the middle monster would have 3, and then the last monster would have 2, and that would be 3, 3, 2. And then as we dealt the monster damage like we would in a normal tracking procedure, we would start from the left, but in this case we would start from the top. So the first monster, let's say, suffered 2 wounds, we would deal it 1, 2 and leave it on 1 wound, and these other 2 are unaffected. And then so in the next turn, if we was to deal 3 wounds, that would be 1, 2, 3. And then let's say the next turn we dealt 2 wounds, that would be 1, 2. And then lastly, the last round of combat, maybe we deal another 5 wounds. Then we could then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we could start beginning to track down the table, the tracker, into negative figures. And negative figures will only come into play if you're using the new expansion that's coming out shortly, the Adventurer's Companion. If you had 10 monsters on the track, you would be dealing all these monsters damage, starting from the top, working down, and then let's say that we dealt all of those monsters in previous combat rounds, we dealt all of them enough to kill them. Then what you would do is the very last pip, the very last crystal that was on the map, just move it up to the position 4, and then you can start tracking it like you've just been involved in a combat with a single monster. There's 20 crystals in total, and like I said before, once all the information has all been stored on the adventure sheet, and then you get to the end of the game, just transfer it onto your adventure sheet, and then you're ready to begin the next time you play, and you can pack this away and you're finished. So thanks for watching, and good luck if you decide to try out the game tracker.